many of us are aware we judge ourselves too much, but we don't get how deep and pervasive it is in our psyche. Most of us have that sense that we're comparing ourselves to some criteria and that we should be better and different to be okay, that we're not enough.
Hey, great job. I'll check in with you next week.
Yeah.
Is your piano lesson all done?
Yeah, it's all finished.
What I would really like to see.
I grew up in a small town in Michigan, and I was a smart kid. And that was the thing that got me attention. And so from a very young age, I became achievement-oriented so I could have accolades, and people would see me, and teachers would see me. And that, as I understand it now, was so obvious something that would work for me, because at home, my mom was doing her best, but my father was a volatile, very controlling, neurotic, a real yeller all of the time, mistreated my mom, definitely was a home where there was domestic violence. And for me, at home, the way to avoid that was to perform. So even at home, if things could be handled, if everything was just right, then you would avoid chaos, you would avoid the unknown, you would avoid the screaming. If I did well in school, then everything was fine. And so for me, being an achiever, getting top marks, and doing those things was just a path to get out.
I grew up in the south side of Chicago. At a very young age, I saw a lot of violence, a lot of poverty, a lot of pain. I saw a lot of struggle. I saw a lot of determination. My parents were all about teaching by command. Don't do this, don't do that. My dad worked throughout my entire youth. I go to sleep at night, my dad was gone. I wake up in the morning, my dad was gone. So I always think about my past. It's mostly of me, my mom, and my 3 sisters. I remember being 12 years old and sitting on a curb handcuffed because a kid threw a rock at me, and then he fell down and he was bleeding, and his grandmother called the police, and he just happened to be a different skin color than I was. I remember being 16 years old and being arrested myself, and taken into the station and booked. And I remember my mother sitting in the holding cell with me, pissed and just upset.
Do you want to go out in the garage? You do? Let's go play in the garage. Come on. I grew up in Canton, Ohio. I was born and raised there. Very close-knit Italian household growing up. My dad, different era, different time, but he would tell us if we wanted to be disowned, we could be gay. Basically don't be gay. So I knew very early on, I had a strike against me already. I told myself if I'm just perfect in every way, then there's no way that I would be disowned from my family. I really struggled in school, really struggled. I was dyslexic, but it wasn't diagnosed back then. And I ultimately had to repeat 3rd grade, which was extremely hard for me. So then I took that as I knew I wasn't very smart, and so I wasn't very kind to myself growing up.
I'm Danielle LaPorte. I am most interested in conversations about how we heal the polarity that's going on in the world right now. We're born into this concept of original sin. And if you're not getting it from some kind of religious indoctrination, you're probably getting it from school. or you're getting it from your family, or you're getting it from social media that says you are not enough no matter what you do, no matter how thin, how round, how rich, how simple, how minimalist, how accomplished, how zen. It doesn't matter what side, what dimension. It just is not enough.
Many of us are aware we judge ourselves too much, but we don't get how deep and pervasive it is in our psyche. Most of us have that sense that we're comparing ourselves to some criteria and that we should be better and different to be okay, that we're not enough.
There's a place for healthy remorse, for recognizing, I did a bad thing there. I don't want to ever do that again. There's a place for that. But we don't need to tear ourselves down. We don't need to scorn and scold ourselves with harsh self-criticism. That's not helpful. In the short run, it might improve performance, but over time, it wears us down. And you see people who are peak performers in a career over the lifetime, they don't beat themselves up, usually. They tend to guide themselves rather than criticize themselves.
Discover on-demand videos and docuseries, explore a full schedule of daily life classes, and become part of an incredible community. At Sounds True One, we invite you inward to find your way your way.